Hi, this is Dan Sullivan. I'd like to welcome you to the Multiplier Mindset Podcast. So the game changer transformation that we're showing here is really special for me because Nick Nanton is just a superhuman being. Just to fill you in, Nick was the producer of the game changer video that was done on moi in 2017, which Nick won an Emmy Award for in December of 2018, along with the 10 other Emmy Awards that he's already won for other work. But he's just a remarkable human being, and he's a remarkable entrepreneur, and he tells a story which I think goes right to the heart of the difference between game-changing entrepreneurs and individuals who are just job entrepreneurs. And job entrepreneurs, just to give the definition, is they see every dollar that they spend as a cost, and their whole goal every year is to write as few checks as possible, and they take pride in the fact that they don't spend for their business at all, and therefore they're limited by their own mindset around paying money for other things, resources, for capabilities. And the story Nick talks about is that you use money to make more money, and if you think about it as a cost, you won't spend much money, but if you think of it as an investment, then it's only a question how big a return you want. Nick tells a great story here about getting money in to start a project and using that money to grow the project even bigger. So he got money in from 2 of his clients, full price, and he used that to leverage getting 15 more clients at full price. Just a thought here, there's an easy way to go about changing your mindset here. Don't think anything that you spend money for inside your entrepreneurial business as a cost. Think of it all as an investment, and then get really, really smart, really, really fast in making sure that all your investments are good investments. But I don't think of anything that we spend in Strategic Coach as a cost. And people say, man, you must have a big payroll right now. You know, how many people do you have? And I said, well, it's getting up there. And I says, you know, it's quite a bit above 100 now. And they said, boy, what a cost. Do you ever think about not having that many employees? And I said, you mean not having that many investments? No, I want to have as many investments as possible. Well, it's a tremendous cost. I said, no cost whatsoever, strictly investment. Having said that, we've had some employees, some team members who are not good investments, and we cut our losses as quickly as possible. But as long as the investment in our team, the investment in all the resources, the investment in the capabilities is producing a much bigger return than the investment, then there's no limit to how much money we're going to make in the future. And that goes for Nick Nanton too. And I would invest almost anything in Nick Nanton because I know I would always get a 5 times return for every dollar that I spend. Great entrepreneur, great role model, great friend, and I just want to work with Nick for the rest of my life.
I'm Nick Nanton, and we run DNA Media, which is a group of companies that produce and create media for the purpose of positioning and branding. I started out in the music business. Music is like a drug you can't shake. So I'm still in the music business. It still sucks me back in all the time. But I was managing bands and artists, and my business partner, who's my mentor, is 30 years older than me. He came to me at one point and said, Nick, I see what you're doing in music and working with bands, and there's nobody packaging people in business the way you do for bands and artists and musicians. So if you would just do that, you'd create a new kind of sector in the marketplace. You'd make more money, you'd be happier, and it would be less like babysitting 57 children, because every kid in a band is like having your own child. Yeah, I think one of the times where I realized the difference between spending and investing, which sounds kind of cliche, but we were working on this group program we had where we could take 20 people at a time. It was a kind of a 12-month program that involved 6 days, 2 days in New York, 2 days in LA, 2 days in Orlando. And we had like 5 people in the third group we were starting, and we could take up to 20. We needed at least 10 or 15. And we had 2 guys come in and pay to be in the group, 2 of the 5, and they just said, hey, we'll pay for everything up front. And my business partner, Jack, said, hey, Nick, well, what are we going to do? We've only got 5 people. We need at least 10 people. And I said, well, I don't really know what to do. We've got like 45 days before we start. He said, well, here's what I think we should do. I think we should invest the money that the guys who paid us up front gave us, and we should invest that money in trying to get more people to come. I mean, everything that my mind went to scarcity and went to spending instead of investing. And I said, what happens if we spend it all, we don't get anyone? And he said, I think we're both smart enough if we spend it a little bit here and a little bit there. We're not just going to blow it all in one place and lose it all. We're going to invest it in the places that we start seeing a return and we start seeing people coming in. From making that decision within the next 45 days, we got, I think, another 10 people. And so it was a decision of learning how to invest in yourself versus the mindset we all have when someone asks you about marketing. I ask people all the time, hey, would you give me $100,000 a month to market your company? Like, there's no way I could afford that. And then I just flip the question and say, hey, if I could guarantee you $250,000 a month in return for $100,000, could you find $100,000 to market on your business? And they all go, of course, I'd be an idiot not to do that. And so it was understanding that difference between spending and investing. And it was just a kind of a pivotal moment where it all clicked for me. There's nothing you can do better than investing in whatever it is you're doing, whether that's in yourself, in your family, in your kids, in your employees, in your career, in your hobbies. Invest. The whole concept of investing is putting in something and hoping to get more back out of it, as opposed to just buying something or spending money. I mean, hey, I like good food. I like nice cars. I like all that stuff. But the concept of investing is just one of the most important things you can do. And I know a lot of people get turned off by the term investing because it sounds boring. It sounds like I should give you $1,000 and get 5% or 7% return a year. It doesn't have to be that. And when you invest in yourself, when you invest in the right things, the return can be exponential, lots of fun, and actually some of the most exciting things that you can experience. I try to make scary commitments that make me return more than I put in. So, for instance, when I first joined Genius Network and Strategic Coach, I wasn't looking for 7 more places to go a year. I wasn't looking to drop big checks all at once. I joined the innovation board of a big nonprofit, and the commitment was $750,000 in a 5-year commitment. And most of everyone else on the board is like billionaires. They just wrote a check. And I asked the guy, I said, hey, can I pay you $12,500 a month for 60 months? It comes out to $750. I said, no problem. And so I knew if I was investing that much money, I was going to invest my thought process, my time, and I was going to make sure that I took advantage of the relationships and the knowledge I was going to get out of that group. So I constantly try to find things that scare the hell out of me, and then I invest in those, and that usually returns the most. And a lot of it has to do with the content, the networking, everything else. But I think maybe the most important thing is the fact that I show myself, at least subconsciously, that I'm willing to take risks on myself. And I think it's a big lesson that has taught me a lot, and I think you could probably learn a lot from it too.
Nick has a formula now that he's created out of his experiences, and this is a constant learning experience. Just when you think you've got to the limit of how much you're scared about investing, then you go on to an even scarier standpoint. And remember, you're the only one who's actually feeling the fear, so it's strictly your business to come to grips with this. But if you try it out 5 or 10 times, and every time you invest, you get a bigger return, you probably have something of a capability going here. And I do too. I mean, when we write big checks, I get scared too. But that's just me. That's just me coming to grips with my own uncertainty. But since it always pays off and I become a better person and everybody on our team become more skillful, unique ability practitioners, then it just works that way. And this is really what Coach is about. We've completely revolutionized the entire Strategic Coach program and the Strategic Coach company over the last year and a half with the simple concept of who, not how. So any area in your company where you're doing the how, then what you want to do is write a check to some other unique ability person to actually take over the how so that you're freed up to go to higher levels of performance. That goes right from the beginning of the program in the signature level. First of all, you change your game by investing in other people's capabilities. You change your teamwork game, you change your company game, you change your market game, you change your industry game. And then at the very top of Strategic Coach is the Game Changer program. And that's where you're investing in changing the world, really, with entirely new types of value creation. But it's all the same formula. Think who, not how, at the very beginning, and treat each of the who's that you have that free you up as the best investment you'll ever make. It's really an investment in you. So when you say, this check is too big to spend, you're saying, I'm not worth spending this check on myself. And that's really what's involved. So your attitude towards spending is just an attitude towards yourself. So to get the full grasp of what I'm talking about here and how the program does this for the rest of your life, go to whonothow.coach.